The rupee resumed its slide after gaining briefly yesterday as government has failed to announce any concrete steps to prop up the Indian currency. The finance minister P. Chidambaram says that the centre and the RBI will do everything to curb volatility, but that does nothing to restore confidence.
I think steps are being taken to ensure that there's no volatility, but the rupee will find its level. And it's quite possible that the rupee will regain some of the losses it has suffered in the last few days. So I don't think we need to panic about what's happening in the rupee. Yes, it does put pressure on inflation. It does put pressure on the subsidy bill, especially for imported commodities. But I think the rupee will find its level. And I think the authorities will take measures to ensure that there's no volatility.
Let's get in then. Manoj Jane, who's MD and Head, Fixed Income and Treasury, India, BNP Paribas. He joins us live on the show. Manoj, I welcome. Delhi has been talking a lot. RBI has been intervening, and they have been telling us not to panic on rupee, and they have been promising various things as well. How have you read this week in sense of the Indian rupee?
I'm quite happy actually to see a very clear articulation by the finance minister just a while back, in which you just ran, that the volatility, and which is the word he stressed, would be addressed, because quite often we've seen RBI at pains to explain that it is really volatility they target and not direction. And I'm very happy to see that both the ministry and RBI are on the same page. Having said that, I think we should remember, which has been articulated by multiple commentators, including policymakers, that this is not INR USD in isolation. This is USD strength across emerging markets. And you've seen the Thai baht depreciate almost 8 or 9% from its low over the last 3 weeks or so. It's the same with the Korean won. So between 5 and 10% depreciation is pretty much par for the course as far as most emerging market currencies are concerned. India actually also is always more vulnerable, given that we are an outlier, since we're not a current account surplus country unlike the others. So we are a current account deficit country. There also we should remember the depreciation operates pretty much like a self-correcting mechanism, which also has been articulated by several commentators. What it really does is that this level of depreciation discourages further outflows. So there would really be very, very negative foreign institutional investors, or very, very pessimistic, who would actually exit having seen an 8 to 10% depreciation in the value of their holdings. And if you actually trace back a year and a half, it's almost 23%. So I think, in my opinion as well, this possibly are toppish levels in this round. And I wouldn't be surprised if, you see some amount of appreciation over the next few days.
Sure. Even as we speak, Manoj, there's something flashing on the channel which says that Chief Economic Advisor sees the March current account deficit at around 4%. The IIP numbers have been on the weaker side. Tomorrow you have inflation. You also have the RBI policy review coming in on June 17th. Amidst all of that, how would you want to look at rupee?
I would think this weakness in the currency has obviously possibly would have strengthened RBI's resolve in terms of recent comments about CPI not having coming off enough and limited room in terms of further cuts, etc. And I think this indeed would strengthen expectations, as the finance minister said as well, of imported inflation. So I would think on the interest rate side, possibly this further strengthens the belief that you may not have a cut in this policy, and possibly very few cuts going forward. And I would think, again, your question was specifically about rupee. I would think this is pretty much top of the range. I'm repeating myself, I know. But we must remember that you're not going to see a 50 level or something like that. So I would say a trading range of maybe 56 to 59. And volatile, because you look at any currency, even the G10 currencies, you've seen 8 to 10% swings in currency either way, very regularly these days.
Sure. Vijay, on the charts, getting you in the conversation as well, how is the rupee looking for the trade now? Because it's been very choppy, very volatile, as we've seen.
Manisha, as per conventional swing trading techniques, I think the rupee has still shown signs of strength in spite of losing some ground today on an intraday basis. I think as long as it remains below the 58.5 levels, the USD INR bulls are likely to remain on the sidelines. Although the long dollar short rupee trade is not dead yet, but this is a very healthy correction which is underway here. And if at all you are seeking to look out for buy opportunities, they might just come well below the 57 levels in the next swing down. So I don't think there's any need for aggression to go long on the dollar at this point in time. Await levels to basically seek equilibrium at 57 or below.